Welcome to the microPOD presented by 101 Media, where you learn one thing in 3 minutes. Aaron, what you got for me this week?
Yeah, so I've been watching Beast games.
The Mr. Beast.
The Mr. Beast.
From the YouTube.
Amazon gave him a ton of money, and he started his first show on a streaming service.
So is this the first YouTuber to get a streaming deal?
I don't think it's the first YouTuber to get a streaming deal, but it's the first, massive deal.
Definitely the first deal of this size.
Other YouTubers have gotten streaming deals, and it just hasn't gone over really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's taken a while for someone as big as Mr. Beast to get.
Or want to take the deal to make it even worth his while as well, yeah. I'm sure.
There's tons of articles online, and everybody's talking about it, and there's a lot of controversy over it. I mean, there's been controversy the last year about Mr. Beast a ton.
In general, because of some of his content and the way he's gone about making some of his content, and people talking about him taking advantage of people or things like that. Whether you agree or disagree with that doesn't really matter. Just the fact that he's been kind of in the spotlight a lot in the last year.
One thing that I've noticed that's interesting, it's the highest performing thing on Amazon. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 13%. Whereas the audience score is 89%.
That's incredibly divisive.
Yeah. So the critics
don't like it.
They don't like it at all.
And is it reminiscent of some of the stuff he's done on YouTube before as far as the challenges go?
Yes, it's a little more random. It's similar to the challenges. It's very psychological, and you can tell that he's trying to work on building characters even more than he's able to do in YouTube. So along with this, my wife and I have been watching some other reality shows to kind of I remember watching Survivor when I was a little kid. Reality shows haven't been something that I've been big into.
For sure.
So 2 shows we've been watching. Deal or No Deal Island. It's interesting. It's kind of like Survivor, but then they have this Deal or No Deal component.
Okay.
And then there's a show called The Traitors.
The Traitors.
Yeah. Do you remember Mafia from Youth Group?
Where,
imagine Mafia, but it's in a castle in Scotland. Someone dies every day, and then they have to banish someone every day to guess who the murderer was.
Interesting.
I have to admit, I have enjoyed Mr. Beast games, but the character development on these more traditional reality shows, I enjoyed it better. My hot take here, Mr. Beast in all of this, he's constantly reiterating the spectacle of what Beast Games is. 1,000 people, largest cash prize of any game show of all time. Even though it's a series, a 10-part series, and his goal has been to create character development, to me, spectacle doesn't overshine good storytelling.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And it is a testament to his entire YouTube career is spectacle. Traditional television is generally geared more towards story and less spectacle. The tried and true nature of what works there.
On the Colin and Samir show, he mentioned that in the future, he doesn't want to do 1,000 people, so he wants to take that spectacle away, if assuming there's a season 2 on Amazon. But yeah, spectacle does not outshine good storytelling. Andrew, what are you into these days?
So books. I don't know if you're a big reader. I am. I read about 48 books last year, which was pretty good for me. There's a massive network of people on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok nowadays. They call them Booktokers or BookTubers. That's really
Ryan
interesting.
Trahan's wife.
Yeah, she's super into it. And what's crazy is if you look at the market of how things were running prior to about 2020, 2021, when TikTokification of the media kind of took over.
Yeah.
Physical bookstore locations were struggling. I have some sales from 2004 to 2023 right here. There's a massive market dip up to about 2019. They were only doing about 697 million sales across the whole year. And then in 2020, that jumped about 50 million. And then in 2021, it jumped another 100 million. And then stabilized around 750, 730 million, kind of moving forward after that. So over the course of 2 or 3 years, because of BookTokers, YouTubers, and Instagrammers, physical bookstore locations stabilized, which is just crazy to think about. When this happened, it kind of reinvigorated this entire rush to being a reader. Now you have people making their full-time living on YouTube and TikTok just being BookTokers.
And specifically physical books?
This numbers are only for physical book sales. Okay. So it doesn't include Kindle book sales. It doesn't include Audible book sales, which I'm sure showed a very significant rise as well in the same thing. But the main thing I want to focus on here, the amazing power of having a focused niche in social media. It's very interesting that the combination of vertical video and books, a media that a lot of people prior to 2019 would have probably said was dead. that weren't avid readers like myself. This revitalization has very much started a new wave of people enjoying this and has then revitalized an entire industry, like new book writers getting signed because of TikTok, new people, new books that were previously like DOA as far as like the publishing industry getting revitalized and like having a second win. There's books from 2003 that are becoming household names now because of all of this social media push into the book world. And it's really cool to see that, like, from what a lot of stuff that we do from like a media standpoint, like having a focused niche can be a really interesting way to grow something that you may have previously thought unable to grow. And if you're into reading, you should go read. Aaron, what do you got for me today?
So all these social media platforms are competing for short form video.
You're right. Yeah, I've even seen LinkedIn get in on short form video.
It's crazy, especially with TikTok being banned, for like 2 hours.
Yeah, for like 2 hours.
First off, what we saw from TikTok was this just crazy rise in short form video, which everybody knows that. And then you have Reels on Instagram, you had YouTube Shorts, and then you have a plethora of others that are trying to get in on that.
Yep.
But I would say the big three in short form video are those three.
Yes.
First off, with TikTok, some goods and some bads. They obviously are the ones who figured out the algorithm, punched that hard. The recent complaints that I've been seeing is that it's turned into a shop.
Yeah, it had the Instagram problem from a couple years ago where the IG store was like they were pushing it insanely hard.
I've seen a lot of complaints about it's less about expressing yourself and more about just trying to sell you something.
Dude, I can't swipe through 3 TikToks without getting some sort of TikTok shop ad for some
Temu product.
Yeah, exactly. It's very annoying.
So Instagram's done pretty good with it. An interesting thing, and why we're here doing this micropod, the day that TikTok was to be banned, Instagram bumped the reel limit up to 3 minutes.
Not only did they do that, but they also created their own editing app to compete with CapCut, because CapCut is also owned by ByteDance.
But it's interesting, the timing was just...
Oh, I refuse to believe that they weren't sitting and waiting on that to happen.
Another perk of what Instagram has is they do have Facebook, and you can get your views punched because they'll send it off to Facebook without you having to do anything. So you can get a wider array of audience if you want more boomers to see your content.
Sure, if you make boomer-related content.
Yeah. And then hopping on to YouTube. So YouTube started YouTube Shorts. I think it's been really good for the creator side of things. You can have less barrier to entry. A YouTuber could get on there, start an account, and they could blow up quick without ever posting a long form video. The shareability side, so on TikTok and Instagram, a lot of that shareability comes through direct messages. So on YouTube, with it being not really a social media platform,
it's not a shareable socials platform. It is a feed me socials platform.
Exactly.
I think YouTube stays in its lane and keeps shorts to being more about just telling shorter stories rather than trying to compete with the peer-to-peer shareability of TikTok or Instagram.
So, my take, if TikTok goes away, the pairing of Reels on Instagram and YouTube Shorts, they actually work really well together. A lot of that shareability from TikTok, I believe, would move towards Instagram. And then YouTube is great for creators to grow their YouTube channel, make money on YouTube, because YouTube's always been a better place to make money.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
We'll see what happens in 2025 with short form video.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Andrew, what you got?
Why YouTubers are pushing themselves to be more visible on television. And I don't mean like the conversation we had the other episode talking about Mr. Beast doing a deal with Amazon, but I mean more like we've seen a massive uptick in YouTube being viewed on TVs.
Yeah, more like YouTube is now competing with the streaming platform.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is cool. So you're starting to see people making their YouTube videos significantly more cinematic.
Yep.
Like a lot of the new crop are coming up in the YouTube world are making these super like think PC kind of cinematic videos that look amazing on televisions when you blow them up.
Yeah.
Or another instance of that being like podcasts feel like a TV show, host show, or a radio show, people are watching on their TVs a lot more.
Dude, like I'll be cleaning in here and I'll just have like Theo Vaughn on the TV.
Yeah, dude, I do the exact same thing. I'll throw like Modern Wisdom or Colin and Samir on the TV while I'm like making lunch or something. So that is kind of like one instance of that. The other instance that I've seen, YouTubers starting to create their own platforms. So we kind of saw this with what was previously College Humor, now Dropout.
Yep.
Sam Reich, the now owner of Dropout, really, I view it as really pioneered the transition from YouTube specific place to now we have our own paywall app and they create content specifically for that app. Super cool. You're starting to see that trickle into places like the Try Guys
And Dude Perfect.
Yeah, and Dude Perfect's a really good
they're
example.
they're
doing crazy stuff.
They're doing everything. They got the cruise. They got the road show.
But then also they're bringing on people like Zach King to their platform. So they're kind of creating their own like sub networks. A small difference between some of these, Dropout prioritizes behind the paywall experience. I pay for Dropout. I watch a lot of their stuff. For $5 a month, you can get a ton of great content stuff, you know, Dungeons and Dragons based things. A lot of their stuff is really based around like improv. So stand up and things like that is super cool.
Yeah.
Then you go over to Dude Perfect. It's very family friendly, action adventure focused. And then the Try Guys is more like kind of game showy.
Yeah.
Which is all very different and would compete directly with major networks for a fraction of the price when it comes to the scale of it. But honestly, just as good.
Dude, I don't even know. I don't know if you've seen this, but like watching Beast Games on Amazon Prime. So Ryan Trahan's Penny series is on Amazon Prime as like
really
as episodes.
Really, Amazon is seeing the potential of a lot of these other things, and they're trying to dip in themselves into that exact same pocket.
It's pretty cool.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That was really good.
You shifted to a new one.
No, that's really good.
Are we done?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a good hard stop.
I feel like it's a good hard stop.
Yeah, we were like right